Thank you for your comment. Let's talk about it. I want to go back to this beat where Tony mentions that he's dating Valentina to Ralphie. Just look at his reaction, right? He's kind of like studying for a minute, just pondering ideas. Get the speed of his reaction, chuckling at Tony. We can see this as Ralphie acknowledging the gravity of the situation, right? He cares more about his son than Valentina. You can also see this as a turning point for Ralphie. His son is in the hospital and now he's lost his Gumar. Ralphie's final beat is him shit-talking his wife and praising Carmela. This could be Ralphie acknowledging how lucky Tony is. In the middle of Ralphie's crisis, Tony has taken his Gumar, on top of also being lucky to have a wife like Carmela. You can interpret this as him trying to guilt-trip Tony. Now let's talk about Tony confronting Ralphie. Tony mentions how lucky they are that they're going to get insurance money. And obviously Ralphie needs this money because his son's about to go into physical therapy. And we can argue about the timeline of Ralphie receiving that information, but based on the assumption that he did burn down the stables, we can assume that he also heard this before. Regardless, Ralphie would still prefer the money over any animals. I want to go back to when we meet Pyomai. We have the scene with Tony and a goat, and Ralphie mentions, be careful with it, it bucks. Again, this is just a quick little line, but this is showing you Ralphie doesn't care for animals. That goat doesn't buck, but he does against Ralphie. Later, we hear more lines of Ralphie degrading Pyomai. And one of Ralphie's biggest arguments is, it is just a horse, get over it. On top of this, with the money, Ralphie was fronting most of the money to heal Pyomai. Tony was not paying most of the bills. I do want to point out the line that confirms it to Tony. Ralphie points out that they were basically just burning money through Pyomai. And he says, I know it's tragic to think this way, but you cannot argue with the logic. Now going back to the weight episode, it's this submission that Ralphie does to the idea that allows Johnny and Tony to confirm that these situations did happen. Because Ralphie apologizes for the joke, Johnny can say that he said it. Because Ralphie's admitting that it's a good thing that it happened, Tony can assume that he's the one that burned down the stables. Like I said, personally, my first time watching it, I believed Ralphie 100%. This whole episode is just trying to make you feel sympathy for Ralphie. And while David Chase did say on the podcast that he thinks Ralphie did it, again, that's not fully confirmed, and even within the show, it is not an answer we get 100%. Going back to the scene with Polly where Tony tells him not to kill Ralphie. This highlights how hypocritical Tony really is because, again, he did not get 100% confirmation, he just assumed off of a feeling. On top of that, the level of irony, for Ralphie to have done everything he's done for the last season and a half, and for this to be the one time where he's telling the truth is insane. I don't mean insane as in ridiculous. It's showing you how great the writing is, and again, how they're not going to give you a 100% answer on things. That's not only a reflection of the mob and how truthful, untruthful they are with each other, but it's also a reflection of Tony. How emotional he is, and how as the boss, everyone needs to submit to him. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if he did or did not kill Pyomai. Tony's the boss, and what he says goes. And again, the main point of this whole episode is to show you the faults that Tony has within himself as a boss. Ralphie was his best earner. Tony cannot be the strong, silent type. He is functioning off of his emotions, which cannot be controlled, and that is why everything is collapsing around him. He is killing the mob himself. This is just my current interpretation of Ralphie killing Pyomai or not. I'd love to hear more people talk about it in the comments. Thank you. Thank you for your comment too.